Hey, everybody, welcome to Money and Change right here on the Trim Radio Network. And it's Sunday. Oh, did your clocks have to go forward where you live? Every time we go into the spring, we have to spring forward an hour, and our sleep time gets messed up for a couple of weeks. At least mine happens to be that way. I don't know about you. But anyhow, welcome to Money and Change on the Trim Radio Network. We have to do a disclaimer first before we do anything else. The information contained in this presented material is from the posting of news agencies on the internet and are not necessarily the views or opinions of the owners of this program. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, financial, or investment advice. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. We are not responsible for and expressly disclaim all liability for damages of any kind arising out of use, reference to, or reliance on any information contained in the broadcast. And now that the legal stuff is done, we can do some shout outs. Okay? Let's see where we're going to go with shout outs here. Of course, big shout out to Trim Radio Network. And we've been on this show for almost 15 years. And I'll tell you what, it's been a great bunch of guys to work with. I'll tell you what, I have a lot of fun with them. They have a lot of fun with me. And I know I kid Rascalis Stevens about the red pill and the blue pill, and I want the green pill. I might change up. Maybe I'll get the yellow pill. I don't know. Of course, knowing him, he might slip me a kidney tracer too. Anyhow, guys, like I said, welcome to Money and Change, and we've got to start doing our shout outs. So I got to get to that real quick here. And if I don't, we have a problem. And let's see where we're at. Oh, son of a gun. Something's not right. I'm gonna have to pull a rabbit out of my there. Well, there it is. It should pop up right now, but it didn't. What is going on here? Sorry for the delay, guys, but something is going on. And I have to figure out what it is. There it is. Surprise! Welcome to the Trim Radio Network. And here we are. Adventure awaits around the bend. And Ranch It Up with Tigger and Beck. And we have Life Walk with Christ God with Michael Bejas. And of course, we have our Money and Change right here on the Trim Radio Network every Sunday at 7 p.m. And we have the Offsides College Football Top 25. We have My World every Wednesday night live right here. And we talk about all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's a wide open night. I can talk about finance. I can talk about funny stuff. I can talk about all kinds of stuff here on that's clean. Okay. Got to keep it clean. That's what our network does. And yeah, we have fun. And we do videos and all kinds of stuff. Anyhow, next we have the Positude podcast, and we have Rascal's Red Pill reality show. You know, you can give me the red pill or the blue pill. I always say I want the green pill. Maybe I'll try to twist Rascala into give me the yellow pill. But just my luck, it's going to be a kidney tracer. I can't keep up with him. Anyhow, he's a good guy though. And also, we have Victoria Smith with the Natural Marketer podcast. You have to check her show out because if you have a business, you need to do marketing, and she's an expert at it. So check out her podcast, okay? Wow. Big thing. Support our network. If you want to contribute now, you can either just donate money, you can buy airtime and put on a commercial for your business or your project, or you can shop the merch. And all you have to do is go to the page, hit the shop now button. Let's see what we've got coming up. We've got the Trim Radio Network mouse pad. We've got the Make the Right Vote 2024. We're going to have to change that, I think, pretty soon. Anyhow, we have the Money and Change ceramic mug. We have the We Cut the Bull color morphing mug. Ooh, I'm going to have to get that one to see what color it morphs into. Actually, I'd like to have one on my mug where it's perfectly white, and then when you add something to change the color, like hot liquid or cold liquid, it turns into maybe $1,000 bill. Maybe with my picture. No, you don't want my picture. Anyhow, the morphing mug would be nice. We've got the Life with Christ God color morphing mug. We've got the Trim Radio On Air Unisex Ultra Cotton Tee. You can advertise for 30-second spot on air advertising. We've got the Trim Radio Network duffel bag. Yeah, you're going to go to the gym and stuff. Hey, get our duffel bag, stuff it full of your gym stuff, and go. Pretty good deal. Also, we have the Trim Radio Network wall clock, the infamous wall clock. So you want to check and get that too. And you can get airtime fees and you can check into those. But support the show by buying the merchandise, because what happens with that is that all money from that goes into buying airtime, and airtime is not cheap. And just think of it. We broadcast on the internet, we go all over the world. And that's a good deal. Hey, if you want to do your own show, you want to contact us, all you have to do is go to this little rectangular box up here. It says, hi there. Thanks for visiting the Trim Radio Network. How can I help you today? Click on it. Just above that box will be like a little blue oval and with white stuff on the inside, like a speech bubble. Well, anyhow, you click on this square, rectangular, and it says, we're here to help you getting your podcast in our network, getting you in contact with show hosts, and anything else we can do to help. And you put your name down. You put in your phone number. I don't care if it's your home phone or your cell phone, but put it down. And then your message. And please put your email address in there. And you hit send message, and somebody will be right in touch with you, and then they will get you in touch with a live voice. Live voices always help, but at least you'll be acknowledging that you've received, or we've received your message. So that's a good deal. So you want to support the show. Hey, donate, buy the merchandise. It helps. It really does. Airtime is not cheap, like I said. But anyhow, check us out on the Trim Radio Network. We cut the bull and we serve the truth. Okay? Wow, what else is going on here? Well, we already did the shows. We've already talked about donate or shop the merchandise. Oh, hey, you want to listen to archives? We have the live stream, which is going on right now, and then we have the past episodes, and you want to check that out. Okay? Good thing. All right, let's take a look at the Money and Change Facebook site. And all you have to do is just contact us. We'll invite you, and you'll get updates during the week. And if you want to post some type of the thing that you pick up, guess what? I don't think you can post on this one. I think I have total control of it, because sometimes we get some strange posts. And so I kind of like to limit that as much as I can. But what do we have here? Oh, yeah, our shout outs. And this was just posted not too long ago. But you can see our shout outs in the Trim Radio Network, of course, and the University of Findlay at www.findlay.edu. Hey, the University of Findlay track and field team, I just got the notice this morning. They're sending 17 to the NCAA Division II track and field. I can't, well, is it a team sport? Whatever. They're going to be there. University of Findlay's done very well in sports, and they're not just a sports school because they have academics. They have a bachelor's, a master's, and a doctoral degree program. Actually, they have 5 doctoral degree programs, a whole bunch of master's programs, and a whole bunch of bachelor degree programs. And I'll tell you what, it's a good school. It's located in Findlay, Ohio. It's on Main Street and basically 224. And it's not far from I-75. It's a nice campus, but that's the main campus. They actually have three campuses in Findlay. One is the Hazardous Materials Campus, which is one of a few in the country. And they teach their students how to handle and identify hazardous materials, probably how to stop leaks too. And also, we've got the equestrian campus in another part of Findlay, and they do pre-veterinary sciences out there, plus equestrian studies with horses. And they're very good at those schools. Also on the main campus, where the rest of the degree work is there, they have the Weinbrenner Seminary, beautiful building and auditorium, fantastic place. They also have, of course, their main library there, the main classroom building. Oh, the basketball facility. They have sciences. They've got the nursing facility there. They got a whole bunch of stuff. Check them out, www.findlay.edu. Beautiful campus, great professors, great students, and Dr. Kathy Fell is the president of the university. She's done a fantastic job. So you want to check out the University of Findlay. Not because I just graduated from there. I've gone to more schools you can probably take a stick at, but I'll tell you what, the University of Findlay is one of my favorites. So check them out. Wow, what else is going on? Oh yeah, posted, pasted, posted? No. We posted, I'm getting tongue tied. I got to have some water. Filtered through a Berkey filter, it's excellent. Well, we have the Patriot Nurse, and she's talking about WI-38 Exposed, the measles, the hidden truth you need to know. You want to check her out. That's Rachel, and she's fantastic. She has been a nurse for many, many years in different areas of nursing, including psychiatric nursing. Well, here's Danny King and his guys at the Deep South Homestead, and they're talking about knives and different special edition of knives. And I watched that show. It's interesting. It really is. And he's got some collector item knives that are just out of sight. Also, we had, of course, Amber Stork. Everything financial is becoming a scam. It's all covert scam to get all your money. Extreme budget can't save you. So you want to watch how she talks about scams and money and how you can keep from being scammed. You know, I get phone calls and they ask me, "Oh, you own house such and such a place. You want to sell?" And I always say, "Yeah, I'll sell. $3 million starting price." Click. I don't get along with scam phone artists. I really don't. I know they have to make money, but not at my expense. So anyhow, everything financial is becoming a scam. Check it out. Of course, I take the Rumble location, the Rumble postings, and I put it here. So this is the last week's of Money and Change, and I will put out some more after this show goes up onto Rumble. And it's pretty good quality. Also, this is Tess. Now, I've talked about Tess before, and basically they bought a double wide and fixed up this mobile home years ago. It was kind of run down. They fixed it up, and they had to live very frugally. And they live in Pennsylvania. And she was a Mennonite, and she decided she's got to save money. Yeah, her husband lost his job, and I think that was due to an accident. And of course, then she had to pick up doing different things, and she knows how to budget very well. She knows how to frugally cook, which a lot of people need to learn to do, and a lot of other things, growing crops and stuff. And it's not necessarily a farming thing. She talks about a lot of different things in life. So you want to check out Tess over at her place. Okay. Now we've also got Colby. He's from the Macs, MAC apostrophe S. And he says imminent prepare now. Well, yeah, he's not a fearmonger or anything like that. He has a very good YouTube show. And I'll tell you what, he presents a lot of different topics. And he talks about it like a conservative person would. And he's very knowledgeable. And he's really into a lot of different things. You got to watch his show. You really do. Oh no. Oh no, I live in your mind rent free. I'm going to have to start charging. I got to make a profit. Anyhow, we've got Zen Habits newsletter. You want to check that out? The Cheapskate Guide, Living Frugally. There are 50 tips to doing that. We posted another one, The Original Matrix, What They Don't Teach You About Money. And boy, I've heard enough this week. It makes my hair curl. And I don't have much hair to curl either. But it does. Well, anyhow, you can check us out on Money and Change / Financially Prepped. Postings will be up there more than likely 3 or 4 times a week. And you'll see different things posted. Check it out. I present a lot of good information on those things and good videos. You want to check it out because, hey, it'll help you save money. It'll help you think about what you're doing with all the stuff going down. Okay. There's a lot of stuff out there. Also, you want to check out the Big Family Homestead with Brad and Krista. They're out in the middle of Wisconsin. You want to check out the Southern Prepper 1 with Dave Kobler. And Dave was busy this last week. I don't think he had a post. He was on, I believe, the week before. But there's a lot of stuff going down as far as the economics, and he talks a little bit about that. I've talked to you about Patriot Nurse. We've got Prepper Princess Amber Stork. I talked to you about her, self-made millionaire. She knows how to do it. LDS Prepper, David Gilmore. Oh, yeah, you're going to get the hype on this one. Remember, I talked about the GMRS radios. This is an Ocean 935G Plus. They have other models. They're not cheap, but they're good. And this has a Nagoya 771G antenna. That gets me 35 miles from where I'm located. If you're on top of a mountain, you could probably get more, but I'm not on top of a mountain. I don't think we have hills in Ohio, but no mountains that I know of. Maybe no. I was going to say Mount Adams, but that's in Cincinnati, and that's just one of the 7 hills. Anyhow, $35 for a 10-year license from the FCC. There are no tests to take. You just have to behave by the rules, and anybody in your family can use it. As long as no cussing, swearing, misbehaving, okay? It's a good radio. It really is. And the bubble packs that you get at Wally World and other places, Costco, nah, they're not good. You got to spend a little bit of money to get some decent quality, and this is a good one. I have several, and I've used them to talk all over. And I want to take one up to Findlay, Ohio, and use the repeater up there and see who I can talk to up there. Right now, I can get 5 different repeaters, and one in Dayton, Ohio, which is 35 miles away. I can talk to somebody 90 miles away. And I don't know how they got that antenna on the top of that TV tower, but they did. And boy, does it get out strong. Well, anyhow, we've got that all done. What else is going on? Oh, yeah. The debt clock. Remember, I talk about the U.S. debt clock almost every show? We're getting deeper and deeper and deeper in debt. I don't know about you, but I've been watching this DOGE thing, Department of Governmental Efficiency, and I keep looking at other things, and I'm thinking, the economy's not all that great. And they said for the last 4 years, oh, it was fantastic. It was fantastic when it really wasn't. I've been reading some different reports, whether or not it's on Yahoo or Business Insider, wherever. And they're saying that the business is really slowing down. And of course, they've had a bunch of government layoffs in Washington because I guess a lot of people like to sit around and push papers and not really do much. I found out one thing this week. The president found out about the different bank cards that all the different employees had. And he needed to reset them so they couldn't spend like a drunken sailor. Sorry, sailors. But the way it works is that the cards are reduced. You can only buy anything with $1. That's all you can put on the card. That's genius. Gee, if you're married, could you do that with your wife? Or if your husband was a spendthrift, wives, could you do that to your husband? Think of that, just limiting the card to $1. And some of the stuff that they paid for, we'll get into that towards the end of the show. But it was interesting, and it was a smart move to take those cards. And since people were no longer with the government, he canceled the cards or reduced them to $1. We're going to see some savings there. Well, the national debt right now, and it's live in real time, is 36,575,781,000,000, and now it's up to 807, no, 900,000. It just keeps flying. You can see it on the screen. And the debt per taxpayer or per citizen is $107,010. And the debt per taxpayer is $323,047. I don't know about you. I don't have $323,047. I mean, I'd have to sell my house, my car, my secret bank account. No, I don't have that. Anyhow, a lot of different things there. The Doge clock right now is showing 182,136. I'm sorry, 182,136,000,000, 800,000 and climbing. Now it's 900,000 and climbing. So the savings per taxpayer is $1,621. By the time they get done, it will probably be, who knows, maybe $3,000 per taxpayer. And it's almost tax time, guys. And the Prez wants to change the tax system. And I think it's wonderful just to have a national sales tax. That would be something else to have. I think I'm going to talk about that tonight, too. Wow. Stock market. I didn't know this, but the U.S. still dominates the, what was it, $124 trillion global stock market that came out in Zero Hedge. And you can see the article right there. Came out today. And all of the world's publicly traded companies for 2025, the U.S. has $60.1 trillion. That's the number of firms contributing to the total market cap. And then you go European Union and environments. That's 15 trillion. And China has 15.6 trillion. East Europe and Russia has about 0.1 trillion. India has $5.2 trillion. Africa, Middle East have 5.1 trillion. Japan has 6.2 trillion. 6.8 trillion for the rest of Asia, and it goes on. I mean, you take a look at Canada, they're only 2% of, that's like 3.0 trillion. Yeah. And the UK is 3.3 trillion. The biggest economies. If Europe goes down, the US goes down, the China goes down, everybody's in a big world of hurt. If China goes down and the European Union follows, we're in a big world of hurt. So you want to watch the markets, even though you may not have anything in the market. You want to take a look at that, and you want to try to follow that as much as you can. And this is the reason why China slumps into deflation again with the first negative core consumer price index since 2021. And they've got some issues. And if Trump decides to say, okay, we're going to give you a 25% tax or tariff on all your goods because you're doing X, Y, and Z to us and you won't trade equally, then we're going to go ahead and charge you 25% on everything. And then I just picked up something about Walmart told China they're going to have to eat the stuff because they don't want to be paying 25% for any of the goods coming in from China, and Walmart has a lot. So they told the suppliers over there, you're just going to have to eat it and not charge us because we won't buy from you. And that causes a lot of things to happen. You can see by the chart. Here's the CPI and PPI. It went down. Okay. China core CPI down. More charts. You can check that out on Zero Hedge. Now, you take a look at RFK. Now, this guy, he really amazes me. He really does. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to meet leaders of processed foods industrial complex. You know, over in Europe, they have certain rules what can be in foods. And so what they might have in something labeled American, like, well, let's say the cereal Trix. Well, you can't have certain colors with certain dyes over there. Why? Because the dyes cause problems. You can't have things with glycophosphate. You can't have things with excessive sugar. A lot of things are coming out that hardly anybody's ever talked about before. And it's scary. Now, I was listening to somebody and they were making the claim that I believe it was children that eat a lot of sugar have ADHD, attention deficit disorder, and others. A lot of it's based on just plain sugar. And tell you the truth, I got this little packet and it had some type of like a fruit drink and you add it to water. And I went ahead and did that. My body started doing some weird changes and more visits to the little room on the hill. You know what I mean? But the flavor was so good. No sugar. It only had about 5% sweetener or whatever they said to it. It was good. There was always some type of sediment at the bottom of the glass, but it tasted good. It got me hooked on it for about 2 weeks. And I finally said, hey, what happens if I go back to just drinking plain water? And there was an immediate change. I'm not kidding, an immediate change. So RFK's taking a look at it. He's going to try to talk people into eliminating glycophosphates and other things from the American foods because guess what? It's giving us problems. If we didn't have the stuff in the food, we might be off a lot better off with processed foods. And I think even Colby talks about it. I think Danny King talks about it. The more we get back to wholesome, whole foods, the better we are. So you got to check and see what's in there. But anyhow, RFK is going to meet with leaders of processed foods, and this thing was on Zero Hedge. It says the U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert Kennedy, will meet with senior leaders of processed foods to discuss potential topics ranging from the banning of seed oils and certain food additives to nutrition labels as the Make America Healthy Again revolution begins. And did you know that some of the seed oils contribute to problems? Olive oil doesn't, for the most part. That's supposed to be good for you. Butter's supposed to be good for you. Remember when they said, oh, no, you have to use margarine? No, butter was the better choice all the way along. So he's going to talk to these guys. Now, RFK is America's best chance at rolling back the ultra-processed food and food additives industries. Oh, Fruit Loops, here we are. You look at the Fruit Loops in America versus Canada, and the ingredients are a lot less, but look at the big thing is sugar at the top. That's what it's got the most of, is sugar in there. And anthocyanin for color. They've got other things. You know, we've got too many processed foods. And during the Senate confirmation hearing, RFK Jr. Told the lawmakers something is poisoning the American people, and we know that the primary culprits are changing food supplies, switching to highly chemical intensive processed foods. And some of the things are petroleum based. Now, I think if we go back and we take a look at what, for the most part, the Mennonites and the Amish eat, I think they live a lot better than what us, in quotes, what they call us English, do. That's eating the whole foods and the vegetables and non-GMO foods, non-GMO corn, and so forth. Sometimes the old ways are the best ways, and not getting all this junk in the food. But you can go and read that article, but that's something to take a look at. Oh, income tax. You know, I watched a video from people over in Russia, and they said that they only had a 13% tax. And he didn't really say whether it was property tax or it was a sales tax. Their tax structure over there in Russia is different. So I saw this and I thought, well, hey, let's take a look at the world taxation rates. And I want to go back to the Money and Change page and find out the list of taxes that I posted that we had. So what we have here is something from Veranoy, where data talks the story, Visual Capitalist. And you take a look at the highest percentages. Denmark, 56%. Great Britain, 45%. Then you go to Canada, 33% in Canada, 37% in the United States. Then you go down to, Brazil, or you take a look at other countries, you've got 27.5%. Then you take a look at Zambia, way down here, ZAF, that's 7% tax. Well, they hardly have any money at all down there. Saudi Arabia, no tax. They make their money on oil. You look at India, they tax 39%. Australia, 45%. China, 45%. And then there's Russia at, they're saying 15%. Well, guess what? I think we could do the same thing as basically as Russia. Now you're saying, oh, you're a Russophile or whatever they call them, Russophile. Anyhow, they're at 15%. The USA is at 37. I mean, even if we dropped it 20%, and take it to 17%, that would be great. That's more money in our pockets. It's less control that the federal government has. You take a look at the taxes, and I'll tell you what, there's something else. Let's go back to Money and Change real quick, because I posted the list of taxes back here, and this has been several weeks ago. I don't think people really connected to it off the bat. And if you did, you'd be really upset. The list of taxes the average American pays: property tax, sales tax, state income tax, marriage tax or marriage license fees, local school tax, vehicle registration tax, business permit fees, estate taxes, waste management tax. We have storm water, and we'll get into that. That's part of them. I'm not going to go through all these. Court fees, dog license tax, driver's license fees, garbage tax, gasoline tax, unemployment tax, highway toll fees. You know, in Florida, they used to have toll roads. They still do. But they used to have these small bridges, and it would cost you $0.25 to go over the bridge every time you went from, I'll put it this way, probably Treasure Island into St. Pete. That was the only way over. It was $25. That bridge had, or 25 cents, that had been paid off for probably 40 or 50 years, and they're still collecting it. You know, if you're going to pay for a bridge, pay for the bridge, and then when it's done, then don't collect any more money. That's the way I look at it. Well, anyhow, you take a look, you've got IRS interest penalty, and you've got library card fees. I never had that. Luxury tax, Medicare tax, passport fees. Oh yeah, they're about $110 for those. Biodiesel fuel tax, professional license fees, recreational vehicle tax, sewer and water tax, service charges for taxes. I didn't know there was a tanning tax. If my dad would tan my hide, every time he would do that, would he have to pay a tax? 9/11 service tax. I don't think we have that one. Universal service fees. Yeah, we got that. Tire tax. Yeah, you name it. Those are the taxes. Okay. And then you got the federal income tax. We're taxed up the yang. Okay, because the yin is even taxed. Where does all that money go? And right now, they've been finding out with Doge that the money goes in and it's basically spent on other things. And some of the politicians aren't exactly doing it right. They think there's kickbacks involved. I hope those guys get caught. I really do. But you take a look at the income tax rates for personal income tax for the world, and it's surprising. And I don't want to live in Denmark or Great Britain. I don't think I'd want to live in Germany too, because the tax rates are too daggone high. So I don't know what the taxes are where you live. Here in Ohio, it's enough. I have to pay a school tax that I don't have any kids in school. So why should I have to pay the tax? And then they come back and say, well, because other people did it. Well, maybe other people did, and their kids are out of school, so why should they have to pay it? Think about it. And they'll always come up with some type of rationale, pay it or we'll take your car, whatever. Anyhow, hopefully that will change. We go to a national sales tax, and I could see a national sales tax of 15%, even 10%, and that would work. And we'd be rolling in money, especially if we get the excise taxes on things coming into the country. But, Trump is only using that for negotiating purposes because Canada raised their taxes up to, I think, 25% on certain items. And the same thing in Mexico. But they ended up coming to the negotiating table because the US was going to drop at 25% on everything we sell them. So they have decided to pause things for a little bit, let it cool down. And certain conditions were met, like 10,000 troops on the border between Mexico and the US to stop the drug cartels. We'll see how that happens. I don't know what happened up in Canada. The Canadian beer gets to be expensive. They were taking American whiskey off the shelves up in Canada. That would tick off a lot of Canadians, I think, because they like some American goodies, if you know what I mean. Wow, there was a talk about, is this recession talk? This came from Jeffrey Tucker of Epoch Times, and he said, just like clockwork, there is talk of recession in the air. An announcement will come soon and be confirmed by summer. The Atlanta Fed just revised its output forecast for the first quarter to expect a contraction, a contradiction yet, a contraction at minus 2.8%. And this is very sudden. Only a week earlier, the same tools, gross domestic product now, had forecast a 2% increase in output in the first quarter. If you take a look at the last 4 years, maybe the 4 years prior to that and the 4 years prior to that, I think they were fudging with the numbers. I think they really were. And yeah, we could probably go into a slight recession. And if the US goes into a deep recession, it affects everybody in the world. If China goes into recession, it's going to hurt us. And Canada goes into recession, yeah, you're going to have a problem. You got some big players. And every time they go into a recession, it affects everybody else. So everybody has to learn to play nice in the sandbox, if you know what I mean. Well, anyhow, he's talking about this GDP and we're going to go into recession. Now, how bad we're going to go into it? Who knows? He said at this point, many people are probably dismissing all these forecasts in big numbers emanating from experts on the public payroll. They've been wrong about so much for very long. They're juggling the numbers. We know that. They're swagging it, which is a scientific wild guess. That's a swag. You can guess what the A is. If not, you could visit me on Wednesday at My World. We might discuss it. Anyhow, obviously, we have distorted GDP numbers for years. And the factors skewed output for years. Why don't they just give the real numbers so we know what the heck is going on? I'd rather somebody tell me the real number behind everything than trying to swag it, a scientific wild guess. Every time, You know, having worked for the government, they always said, well, what's your motto? And I would always jokingly say, we have met the enemy and they is us. That came from an old Pogo cartoon way back in the, I don't know, 30s, 40s, or 50s. I forget when it came out. And that was one. We have met the enemy and they is us. Not good grammar, but the meaning's there. And I'll tell you what, sometimes government can be its own worst enemy. You just have to take a look at different things. You have to look at the economy with very open eyes and read as much as you can from all different sources and then make up your own mind. Okay? Hey, a federal judge denied the request to block Doge from accessing Treasury data. According to Tom Ozimek from the Epoch Times. And he said a federal judge in Washington has refused to block staff from the Department of Governmental Efficiency, or DOGE, from accessing the Treasury Department's system that contains millions of Americans' personal data. There was a group that wanted to block it. Well, guess what? The judge says no. So U.S. District Judge Colleen Kolar Catelli, it's a hyphenated name, who previously restricted Doge's work at the Treasury to 2 employees with read-only access, issued a decision on March 7th that rejects a request from the Alliance for Retired Americans and several employee unions to bar Doge staff from the Treasury's fiscal service system, which processes roughly 90% of federal payments. And in a ruling, the judge determined that the plaintiffs had failed to establish that allowing Doge employees access to the system would result in irreparable harm. Well, all they're going to do is go in and download the information from the Treasury system, and they're going to see how much money was paid out, and then who it was paid out to. So if illegal funds were paid out of the Treasury to XYZ Corporation, or the president of whatever, I'm having a hard time making up names of corporations, because they change all the time. But anyhow, they want to find out, number one, if the check was really issued to that person, because they're finding out that in some cases, the checks were there, but they were never sent out. They were never issued. It's raising all kinds of questions. Well, what are they doing with their tax money? Tax money goes into the Treasury. Guess what? What are they doing with it? Are they sending it overseas, and overseas sending a kickback back to the politicians? That's not right. Maybe that's how some people have a salary of, let's say, $250,000 a year or $400,000 a year, and bingo, they're worth a net million, maybe $74 million. How did they get the $74 million? Was it through insider trading? Because if we do insider trading, we go to jail. If a senator or a congressman does insider trading, nothing happens. Yeah, it's a two-way street. But all they're going to do is check to see if the money has been paid out and where it went to. It would be interesting to chase that and see where your tax dollars. Oh, I have water I have to drink. That's better. They want to see where your tax dollars are going. And if the stuff is still hanging around and it hasn't been paid out, or it's been paid out to a bogus establishment or whatever, we got a problem, don't we? And we want accountability for our money, because if we pay it into the federal government, we want to know where it's going for and to make sure that it helps the people that are supposed to be helped, right? Okay. Wow. Here's from Doge. I was looking at this today and I'm thinking, oh, those numbers are off because the other one's talking 181 trillion or billion, and this is only 105 billion. And they're saying tax dollars saved. So there has to be a reconciliation there. And I'm looking at all this and I'm thinking, oh, let's see what we have. Contractor to provide training, consultant support services in accordance with the statement of work. Okay. The total amount to be paid out was 1.29 million. And what's actually been paid out has been 624.77 thousand. Contractor to provide building services support in accordance with the statement of work. CBO initial order. How about NFL alumni, health shingles vaccine, community outreach and educational project? I'd ask questions on some of this stuff. Synergy 8, service requirement. A lot of questions, and they go into what was, earmarked, and I can list more. You can go and check it out if you want. DogeTracker.com. Oh yeah, and I was going to show a video here, but me and my yap have been gabbing too much, and there's so much stuff to cover. I probably should have knocked off a couple and not covered them, but they were important things. Restaurants are most insulated consumer industry facing tariffs. What they're saying is supplies coming in from overseas. If we're getting food from China coming in that's processed and so forth, that's going to have a tax on it, and that's going to hurt. If it's locally grown produce, not to worry about that. But it's anything that's overseas where you're going to have tariffs coming in, and so you have that to put up with. Bank rate. More Americans prioritize both paying down debt and increasing emergency savings instead of focusing on one. Do me a favor. I've always said, pay down your debt. Put money aside. Buy long-term food. Be able to purify and store water. And that used to be 1 gallon per person per day, but now they're saying 2 gallons per person per day. And I'm going to say it's closer to probably 3 gallons per person per day. So go with my 3 gallons per person per day. Okay. Make sure you have the appropriate clothing for the season. Make sure you got those blue tarps to put on your roof in case a bad storm takes your roofing off, and it's going to be too costly to replace it right now if you go into a recession. So you put the blue tarps on. It happened. I know a guy that had a mansion not too far from me. I mean, a beautiful place. And a bad storm came through his property, knocked over some trees and so forth, took the roof and expensive clay tiles on the roof. I mean, those are expensive to put on. And he couldn't settle with the insurance agency, so he put blue tarps on the top of a mansion, and they were there for probably 2 years until he finally settled. Oh yeah, well, I ought to take a picture of that mansion. I could show you that one. I'll have to do that sometime. I won't name the person, even though I know him fairly well. But I could show you the mansion at least. And that's about 5, 6 blocks from me, believe it or not. Anyhow, more Americans are prioritizing both paying down debt and increasing emergency savings. How much emergency savings do you have? What happens if your car went out? You have to spend $1,000 to $2,000 on your car and you don't have it. Oh, let's put it on plastic. Okay. So we put it on a Visa, MasterCard, whatever. And you start paying interest at 17% interest. The cheapest credit card I ever had was from Wachovia, and it was 7%. And that was the bomb at the time, is to have one of those cards. I was lucky to get one. Later on, Wachovia had some problems with that bank. I dropped that card like you wouldn't believe. But people pay interest. And it's amazing. People go out shopping and they use their credit card. They say, well, we'll pay on the interest. And it starts building up. I don't owe anything on my credit cards. They're all paid off. I don't have a house loan. I don't have a car loan. Everything's paid off. Yeah, there's money. And I can invest money. I don't have to worry about it that much. If a sudden surprise bill hits me, yeah, I can pay it off. I don't like to let things build up, and neither should you. But if you're behind and you're constantly on interest and everything, it'll kill you. I had a friend of mine who had 7 credit cards. They were all maxed out. I finally talked him into just putting them out into one payment, finding a company that would take them and put them all in one payment, and told him to cut up these cards. Just cut them up. Don't use them. Pay cash from now on. Oh, he about had a heart attack. Well, this thing here, the Bank Emergency Savings Survey that was taken, July 3rd to 5th in 2025. They were looking at different people, the Gen Zs, the millennials, the Gen Xers, and the baby boomers. I guess I'm a baby boomer. But they focused on paying both at the same time, 36%, increasing emergency savings, 28%, paying down the debt, 24%, and neither one is a priority, is 13%. They ought to be a priority, period. Pay down your money, put some money aside, buy some long-term food, canned foods, freeze-dried foods. But what happens if we go into a recession and food prices go high? Have you been building up your reserves? You might want to check out Emergency Essentials. They're out there. The LDS store is out there. Different places to get canned goods, because you're going to need them. You really are. You can learn to save money by living frugally. Proper Princess did it. You can do it. I know I try to do it. So, well, guys, dang on it. Our time is just about out. And I'll tell you what, it's going to be time to go. And we've got to take a look at different things here. So in bailing out, pay down your debt, put some money aside, buy long-term foods, prep on water and so forth. Watch how you spend your money. Take good care of your car. If you need to get it fixed, because we go into a recession, you may not be able to get the parts. Okay. With that, guys, that's all I've got. Have a good week. I'll talk to you on Wednesday on My World. We'll have a little bit of fun there. But check us out, okay? Have a good week. Save your money. Prep like crazy. You're going to need it. See ya.